Hi, honors students. We want to talk to you today about your next unit, Early Government. Very exciting unit, and we've got some great things planned for you. This is the Early Government unit, which deals with the creation of our government. Now, you may not be into politics, but you know what? Today we really need to be concerned. People need to be educated on how our government works, and it is so important for you to understand that. So, if you're worried about looking way back, here's George Washington at our, at the convention, keep in mind that you want to relate all of this to things that are going on today, because what happens in our government affects you. So the big question is, how did our government get formed, and what struggles and of course successes took place during this early government time period? So you have a task. You need to help create study resources for yourself and your classmates to study the early government time period. And you have a lot of different resources as always. You have haiku, so you are going to be actually using haiku to create a wiki. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You have Google Slides, and this will be placed on Google Classroom for you. So you could go ahead and take a look at this early government unit. Lots of good information on here. As you see, I'm scrolling through a lot of good charts and diagrams. You have Google Classroom, which we will, post things on. And you have Moodle. There is just a wealth of information. I've already opened up Moodle. What you would want to be looking for is this topic number 4, or early government. And again, you can see this is organized: Articles of Confederation, the Constitutional Convention, the powers of the U.S. Constitution and federalism, ratification. So all the units, except for the last learning target, you could find all of them on here. And these are some additional resources that you could use in addition to the ones that are already built in here. One of the things I just want to show you is that this is an interactive thing right here. So I can just click right here, and it's going to actually go ahead and of course take me to the Google Slides. So whenever you see the blue on here, you can see that this is where you're going to, you can click on it to see what's under there. How are you going to show your learning? And we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about that. But let's take a look here at Show Your Learning. Again, clicking on here is going to take you there. I happen to have already pulled it up. So there are a variety of ways that you can show your learning. I see I've got this a little bit cut off here. This right here, when you open it up, says take notes. So this is a Cornell note-taking method. You can take notes. Now, whatever you do, make sure that you're keeping in mind that you're going to be posting this for other people to use and look at. And you'll understand that'll become a little more important when I explain in a little bit. You could do sketch notes. I had a couple different students that did some great sketch notes. Kyle is one of them who is coming to mind. You can, if you want to take notes about the learning topic in pictures, you can. You may want to use diagrams and pictures, and then obviously, explain them. Some of the ones under governmental power, using, putting together collages using diagrams and pictures works really well. You could write a short essay if you wanted to, explaining things. This one right here says make an audio summary or create a song. If that's something, when you get done reading a chapter, if you wanted to do a kind of a little podcast or an audio summary on it, you could. I think this is the best one. I love this one. Teach a mini lesson and record it. So you can't just teach it. You got to make sure that somebody is going to actually record you. One of the things we know about, and you know this, that when we actually have to teach something, we learn it really thoroughly. And that is important. You have to make sure you understand it really clearly. So you could teach this mini lesson to a group of 4 or 5 kids. Someone could record it. You might be sitting at home and just feeling, like really having some fun. You could do a role play. You could do a role play with another person. Again, the key is recording it. Um, the one thing that I just want to really caution you about is that we are looking for some good comprehensive kind of honors level material. So you can have fun with all of these. That is, we love that, but make sure that you have the content there and the thinking skills. You may choose to really investigate some of the primary sources, maybe some of the Federalist Papers you really want to take a look at. You could read those, do some thorough annotating on some of these primary sources. You could create a simple website or presentation that would help get some of the ideas across. Maybe you want to create some digital flashcards for people to go on and use. Again, you want to make sure that it's kind of a high level set of flashcards, so not just simple memorization. You might create a little video that would go through the basic the basic concepts of the learning target. And you could be creative and use social media, have a little, they call it fake book account, or do something creative in terms of social media. Again, having fun, but also making sure that the content is there. So be creative, have fun, but make sure that the content is there. And this over here says you could have some other way to show your learning. You have to get approval. So it's important for you, we want you to show your learning, again, not only to your teachers. So it's not enough just to read about things and learn it. You have to show your learning, but you're also creating these to help your classmates. So always keep that in mind. If you're taking notes and your handwriting is really sketchy, maybe you need to type your notes. So keep that in mind. All right, and I'm going back now. Again, that was just a click off of this right here. I'm going back now to the main to our main direction sheet, information sheet here about early government. And here are all of your learning targets. We have tried to set this up so that you can be as independent as possible. We know that there are many of you in the honors class who want to work ahead. Being in class, sometimes you want to move ahead, you want to go more in depth, or maybe you're just really busy and you want to be able to get things done when you have the time, so that when you're really busy, you are going to be able to have some time where you can do your other activities. So the learning targets are here, and I'm going to read through these quickly, at least a couple of them. Students will understand the Articles of Confederation and analyze its weaknesses. The one thing that you're going to see, and I'll explain this as we get further down, is that all of these, you're looking at content, but then we're also asking you to apply the skill. And I'll explain more what that means, but it says I can apply the skill, okay, of cause and effect, and so on and so on. So we'll always be asking you to apply the skill. We're looking at the compromises at the Constitutional Convention when they made our Constitution. We're looking at the arguments for supporting the Constitution or not. We are looking at understanding how our government has separated power. We are looking at the idea of federalism. We are looking at understanding the importance of the precedents or guidelines set by George Washington. And we are looking at understanding how different political parties developed. We'll be looking at Hamilton and Jefferson there. And then we're also going to look at a couple of significant events from our second president, John Adams, and our third president, Thomas Jefferson. And again, we'll be asking you to apply some historical thinking to those skills. Key vocabulary is right here, and again, there is a Quizlet that you can go through to, if you want to practice some of these words. It would be helpful to be able to know these words. All right, we'll continue in just a second in our next video.